where there is no presidential approval, the establishment of the hospital, the sponsors of the bill, we do well to first seek approval with justification. And after securing approval, other due diligence has to be made through the federal government and relevant authorities. The teaching hospital included in the list of federal teaching hospitals. So in conclusion, I think in respect of that bill, what we are saying is that proposing a bill to amend the Teaching Hospitals Act to include the name of a non-existent hospital is like putting the cart before the horse. Existing federal medical centers automatically become teaching hospitals following presidential approval in states that have federal universities without medical schools. I think this is the most important thing that we need to know. We have seen quite a number of that where we have been approached to allow the federal medical centers to serve as teaching hospital, quote unquote, pending the time that such facility will be established for the state universities. So this is the issue here. Mr. Chairman, again, the Federal Medical Center Establishment Bill for an act to provide the legal framework to establish federal medical centers. Again, the ministry's position is that it is the federal government's policy for the establishment of federal medical centers to make provision for states where there are no federal teaching hospitals. And presently, there are 20 federal medical centers in the country. And some of these federal medical centers, like I did say earlier on, have been converted, quote unquote, to teaching hospitals in the states that are affected. And the chief executive officer of FMCs can maintain the designation as medical director. This is essentially to differentiate the federal medical centers from the teaching hospitals, where the chief executives are referred to as as chief medical director. On the membership of the board, 14 people, we believe that's quite unwieldy. And it is pertinent to know that there are too many representations from unions, associations, and professional bodies. It's a belief of the ministry to say that the unions can be recognized under the Joint Health Sector Union, JUHESU, and the Nigerian Medical Association should have a representative as it is in the Teaching Hospitals Act. That is, taken from what exists at the moment under the teaching hospital, we might as well just have this replicated in the case of the Federal Medical Center. Most of the federal teaching hospitals and some federal medical centers, they have that department called the Department of Dermatology. That is a specialized department where issues that have to do with the skin can be better managed. And of course, we believe that much as it is important to pay attention to issues of dermatology, we also know that establishing a hospital for dermatologic condition, it will affect patients an opportunity to be co-managed by other specialties. So we are saying that if we have to establish these hospitals, much as it may be desirable, we need to consider all that is involved, particularly in terms of human resource for health. This is very, very important. And again, we also note that inviting other specialists or engaging them on a visiting basis will not be cost-effective and can delay patient management. So it is worth mentioning that dermatologists work very closely with plastic surgeons in terms of reconstruction and cosmetic surgeries, and of course in some cancer situations. So government is already grappling with the issues of funding already existing tertiary hospitals. So the position of the ministry is that rather than establish special hospital for dermatology, with all the huge financial implications and human resource for help needed to manage, it is our own view that it could be more appropriate to strengthen the existing dermatology units or clinics in the various tertiary hospitals, whether at the teaching hospital level or at the federal medical centers.
I mean that proposed they ought to go to the president first. With due respect, that's not the law. The National Assembly is set up by virtue of Section 1 of the Constitution to make law. And the issue of health will have the power to make law on it. And what they are quoting is the 1985 military. With due respect to all the generals here. That is why we've said it's because this arm of government has been absent for many years. The executive think of all powers belonging to them. Otherwise, 1985 law you are saying is the president has the power to do this, to do that. It's a law made by the military. Because then, that was it. But when you talk about that power itself is by law, that law can be amended through an act of parliament. And by coming up to say, so will be a teaching hospital, it's a law also. The assent of that law by the president is also an approval that that place become a teaching hospital. That's number one. Number two, on the FMCs that they were quoting all the things, FMCs as is present has no law. And that's why it becomes very discretionary. One will be said will be upgraded to be a teaching hospital, another one will not be. And they have either the same facility or if a FMC with a better facilities is not, it becomes politicized. So what this law, if you listen to the debate during the second reading, seek to do is to set up proper standard criteria as to what a FMC should be, what a teaching hospital should be, what should be the criteria upon which an FMC will be a teaching hospital. And that's why again, we are here as lawmakers to make the law. So the true aspect are okay. On the dermatology, that's the view of the ministry. But with due respect, we have several other specialized hospitals. Eye hospital is there, ear hospital is there. They are specialized. Why do we create them? Why are we not talking of resources? We have we have orthopedics. Sorry, don't clap. I'm sorry, I've said the rule. Don't clap here. That's why we don't. The speech I'm making does not deserve a clap. I'm sorry to say. We don't clap. So anybody that claps with due respect will be taken out. So what I'm talking, sir, is that we have several specialties in medicine that we have hospitals for. And despite this, we have them as departments in teaching hospitals. We have orthopedics, we have psychiatry. This morning, the Minister of Health told me that there's the intent to establish additional 3 orthopedic hospitals, because we currently have 3, only in 3 geopolitical zones, and the other zones do not have. And he was telling me when I was talking that he just commissioned Maiduguri Teaching Hospital Orthopedic Center, but that does not mean in the Northeast there will not, because I was telling him that as I sit in this chair as Chairman Committee on Health, I've had to support 1 or 2 senators to take patients from Maiduguri to Kano for orthopedic service. Orthopedics, we have orthopedics department in all teaching hospitals. That does not preclude us from having orthopedic centers. We have psychiatric department in all teaching hospitals. That does not preclude us from having 8 neuropsychiatry hospitals in 5 geopolitical zones. So this argument, Honorable Minister and Minister of Health, not you, but we have to speak through you. I think I want to suggest, I'm making this comment because this is the second time it is happening in public area, that the ministry should have robust discussion when there are proposed bills. The last time we had a bill also, when the ministry made a presentation here, and we were able to look, the bureaucracy wrote something based on health act, but when the discussion even within the ministry, there was no consultation with the department. So, and that is now coming back. So overall, what I'm saying is that your comment is well taken, it's noted, that's the position of the ministry. The position of the legislator will come up based on whatever the wish of the people are. The ministry, the lawmakers, we are all there to serve Nigerians. It's the view and the wish of Nigerians who own that resources that we all talk about controlling, who elect those of us who are here, and who will elect the head of the executive, who is the president, that we say this is what we wish, this is what we want, and we'll collect all those, and it will reflect in the law we make. On that note, thank you very much.
During the military regime, we have the had the decrees enacted by the Attorney General and the Supreme Military Councils of the regime in those days. You know, that meant we know of all that. Instead, you have edicts. You know, but we also know that they were coming into coming of the 1999 Constitution into force. Some of these decrees were also upgraded to, you know, be accepted and looked at and accepted. But I want to say that looking at the issue here, to create a teaching hospital, there's a law for it. You know, when you just go by presidential pronouncement, and that has made that thing, brought that into being. The meaning is that you have usurped the powers of the National Assembly in making legislation. In that respect, we are very glad that Mr. President has done some of such approvals, like Batleke has been upgraded to Less Equipment Teaching Hospital. They have also done that in the case of Gombe and all that. That's also very interesting. But that does not detract from the National Assembly of doing their law. They do the process and come back. It means that we already were in agreement with the president. But there has to be law to follow this due process. That is what my sister and our colleague is just seeking. And we will not want to do so. We are happy already the federal government has agreed. So what we're just saying is that please, there has to be a process of getting this thing done. So that tomorrow if anybody challenges it in court, you have a law to hold up, and then debate and say, yes, we established by law. Presidential pronouncement is very welcome, but it is not law. That's the whole thing. So what we are doing is here to, you know, legalize that presidential pronouncement that has already been made, and that is our duty. And the National Assembly will not, acquiesce to these sentiments that this is okay. We should not do anything further about that. That's just what we are doing, and we want to follow it strictly sensu and make sure that we follow the processes. For Modibo, yes, we follow all the due processes. So I want you to be in agreement with what I say, so that we will not be arguing, back and forth all the time. Such things come over here. That's what we are saying here, Mr. Speaker. Who is a former colleague in the senator and the minister now. So this is just what we are proposing here. Yes, the presidential yes, is in order. It makes our job easy in those respects. But we still do the processes and get back there. You cross the T's and dot the I's and make sure that we follow what the Constitution says about the issues of this nature. That's so there's no disagreement between us and the executive on this issue. We just need understanding. Thank you so much.
Thank you, distinguished. Sorry, Honourable Minister, no comment again.